Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the new me. Woohoo! Finally got a haircut. Okay, what I want to have a look at today is the Canadian convoy in America. Now, as you know, I tend to do a bit of a deeper dive on things rather than just do a quick read and then pass on to the next subject. So I'm just going to have a fairly in-depth look at this, the causes behind what's happening, who, what, where, etc., etc. Now, the Canadian, so we all know what the Canadian convoy is about. It's truckers supposed Canadian truckers opposing the mandate that they must be vaccinated to pass over the US-Canadian border. All truckers, including the American truckers, must be vaccinated. Now, 90% of truckers apparently are already vaccinated against COVID, but there is a percentage that aren't and don't want to be. And so that's how the protest started. What's happened is that the convoy converged on Ottawa. It was joined by a more general anti-mandate, anti-restriction protest groups, and I say plural, and so it's become unwieldy and out of control. So there's lots of little things that have happened. There have been reports of violence, racist abuse, robberies, etc. Petty theft, gun issues, etc. So the protest itself, although it started peacefully, has turned into somewhat of a party atmosphere of horn honking and fireworks and sort of raging into the night. So it's now been injunctions been put through the courts that they cannot blow their horns because horns are not considered a verbal expression, because the locals are fed up. 68% of Canadians in general have little tolerance for this convoy and the protesters. 32% are siding with them, saying that they do have a cause. So 2/3 of Canadians are against it and 1/3 are for it. Apparently Canada has about an 80% vaccination rate, so they're pretty high on the vaccination rate. And a GoFundMe page that had been set up to raise funds for the truckers has been frozen, and the funds seized and returned to the donors by GoFundMe, because they don't support, they support peaceful protests, but this protest has gone beyond the stage of peaceful. So I just want to have a look now, fully understanding, and I know people that are anti-vax. There is a portion of these protesters that truly believe what they are doing is for the right purpose. What I have noticed with the anti-vaxxers, is the ones that I know, is the protests and the action against COVID mandates and vaccinations is it's almost like it's giving them a renewed purpose and passion, and something that they can feel a part of, and that they are making a difference, and that they feel, so it gives them that sense of fulfillment and passion and purpose that may be lacking elsewhere in their lives. And as I said, it makes them feel like they're part of something that is greater than them, and that gives them an euphoria feeling of being part of a greater cause. So I do understand that there are some that do not want to be vaccinated. I personally don't understand it. I've been double vaccinated and boosted, as has all of my family. Yes, we did have mild side effects from the vaccinations, some of occasionally. My daughter had quite a severe side effect from the AstraZeneca, but I look at it and go, well, if that was one dead protein, thank goodness she never got the live version, which would have totally floored her quite severely if that was the reaction to the vaccination. And I look back and I go, well, you want to travel overseas, you sit in your doctor's office and line up for your malaria, your diphtheria, your yellow fever, your tuberculosis, you name it, vaccination. You can get a dozen vaccinations in one hit. Kids are vaccinated literally moments after they're born, and then for measles, well, not literally, but within months of being born, for measles, mumps, rubella, whooping cough, all these diseases that would have been extremely deadly in the past. And we now don't have diseases such as polio and diphtheria in most Western countries. So I don't understand personally, but I do emotionally understand where these anti-vaxxers are coming from. So, off my usual verbal soapbox, which I've done at the beginning, you guys should know by now that if you don't want to listen to it, just zip past the first 6 minutes. I want to have a look at the Canadian the Convoy protests. So, first of all, I just want to ask, just a general, tell me about the Canadian Convoy protests. Tell me about the Canadian Convoy protests. Tell me about the Canadian Convoy protests. Using my mystical manga cards. Tell me about, which I use for political readings. Tell me about the Canadian Convoy protest. Okay, come on, Meister. Tell me about. Whoop. Tell me about the Canadian Convoy protest. Okay, interesting series of cards. The one that flung out at me first up was the Sun. So what we've got here is, can be full of illumination, can be joy, sort of coming together. And this is what I was talking about when I was saying it's giving them a purpose and a passion. There is a joy that they feel in this protest, that they're standing up to the man, and it is more than just anti-mandating. Got Temperance here, which is about rebalancing, moderation, staying grounded. This is almost like it's a call for moderation. But we have loss. So I think what's happening is that it originally started because some of the truckers were losing work because they did not want to get vaccinated. But it has become more than that. But what we've got here is we've got the loss, but what's happening is that they're looking at what they have lost as they look out over the horizon, the waters, their opportunities. They're aware of what they've lost and they're ignoring what they still have. And then we have the Knight of Coins, which is the mercenary. So it's almost telling me a story of the progress of the progress behind the protest itself. It started out as a moderate balancing with grievances that they personally feel, but it's turned into a bit of a mercenary event that is backed by money. So I just want to ask, is this become more, and we know it has, is this protest, the Canadian Convoy protest, no longer about mandates? The majority of it, some still do. Now we've got protests in Australia, they're protesting outside our Parliament House as we speak. But when the media goes in and talks to some of these people, they're very much fringe dwellers who have attach themselves to a purpose rather than the purpose being the reason why they're actually there. So, is the Canadian Convoy protest no longer about the, fundamentally no longer about the mandates? It's causing awful disruption in Ottawa. It's closed down. The centre of the city. Is this the fundamentals within the convoy no longer about the vaccination mandates? This was the sacrificial protests, with illusion being created from all angles. Now this is so we've got two major arcana to start with. The magician. So the magician can mean two things. It can be manifestation or manipulation. What I'm getting from this is the manipulation side of the magician, and he has everything in his power. He has all the aces, the rods, the cups, the pentacles, and the sword. So the sword, there he is. So he has everything within his power, and he is manipulating very powerfully. What they've done is they've sort of painted themselves into a corner. They are surrounded by the truth of which they're choosing to be blindfolded from. We've also got these chains here, which I suspect are probably chained up to the devil card, but not in this particular reading. But yes, they are surrounded by the truth, but they choose to be blindfolded to it. And what happens with this sort of situation is that they get into crowds surrounded by people who are very persuasive and charismatic, great oracles, who are disseminating disinformation. Now there's a difference between misinformation and disinformation. Misinformation is oh whoops, I didn't mean it like that, here let me correct it. Disinformation is a deliberate twisting of information and spreading of lies, basically. I was going to say untruths, but that's probably too kind a word for it, of lies. And what happens is these people who are not going anywhere in a hurry find themselves, especially with modern social media, in that somebody who is usually a nobody is given as much vocal power over social media as, for example, an epidemiologist or a virologist who has been studying these diseases for 10, 20, 30 years, and they often hear what they want to hear, so they follow this particular person that's supplying this disinformation, and the algorithms of the social media then feeds them more of the same, because that's what the algorithms do. They say, oh, this is what you're liking, here's more of it to keep you following along, and then people end up surrounded by the truth but unable to see it because they've gone down this trail of misinformation. And then we have the tower moment. So trying to think, and then justice. Trying to think what the original question was in regards to this. Has the convoy been, is the convoy still about the mandates? And what I'm getting here is very strongly a no. That the mandate section has been paused, suspended, and it's now illusion, the manipulation of disinformation. But we'll end up in a tower moment for many, and justice. Justice doesn't necessarily mean the legal system or anything like that being taken to court. It means consequences to your actions. responsibilities and consequences. So the next question I want to ask is, because this is causing such disruption, is this convoy protest being funded? Now, trust me, it is being funded, just like the Australian protests are being funded. The organiser of the Australian protest outside the Parliament House, which have caused major disruption, was caught on the scene. He had been funded over $200,000 by goodness knows who to organise this event. So this wasn't from people having sympathy from the event. This was prior to the event taking place. And he was found at the protest with illegal firearms in his possession. Now, in Australia, there is a very rigorous process that you have to go through to become registered to have a firearm, and then another rigorous process you have to go through to actually buy a firearm, which is why we have such a low gun murder, injury, etc. rate in Australia. Gunshot homicides, etc. Yes, they happen, but they are extremely rare. So the fact that he had raised these monies prior to actually launching the action, the protest action itself, and having illegal weapons, just tells you about the what's actually backing these sorts of protests, what sort of person. Now, yes, there are genuine people at these protests who feel that they do have a grievance and that they're there for a reason. But let me have a look. Are these protests being backed by... I'll do a full Celtic Cross for this one. What is... Now let me try and think of the question. So what I'm trying to ask is, who is actually backing these protests and what is the reason behind it? So, okay, we'll just... who is backing these protests? Who is backing these protests? And what is the outcome they are hoping for? Who are backing these protests and what is the outcome they are hoping for? Okay, come down with me, join in. Okay, it's all about the money. It's all about the money. So Four of Cups can mean financial insecurity or hanging on to your money or looking after your money. But this just tells me, yes, there is financial insecurity, but the core of the reading is these protests are about money. Crossed by the Queen of Cups. Now she is bringing forward something that needs to be revealed. So she has a revelation in her cup that has its lid on it. But she is being challenged by the revelation. Okay, so the money is being challenged by the revelation. Base of the pack is judgment, so this is an inevitable ending. They're feeling a call to arms. Again, in the past we've got the money coming forward, the Ten of Pentacles. Crowning the reading, Page of Cups. So again, the Page of Cups has something that needs to be revealed. Yeah. Nine of Pentacles. So this is all about living luxurious, but also being trapped by your money as well. So again, we've got the money coming up. The external influence, things are going to happen very quickly. The internal influences, things are going to be under review. Isolation. Okay, what I'm getting is they're going to be isolated. They're feeling isolated. That's why they're undertaking this. They're feeling isolated. Hopes and fears. So they've got their circle of support, but this is what is behind the convoy. Queen of Wands, powerful figure. She's an inspirational figure, juggling decisions to difficult decisions. So this is telling me a lot. This is a lot. This is about within what's happening within the protest itself. So you've got feeling financial insecurity crossed by the protesters. Let me get this story straight. So originally it started with financial insecurity crossed by a belief that they have something that they know that nobody else does, and it's a secret that's to be revealed, which is quite a common narrative from these anti-vax protesters, is that I know something you don't know. They felt it was a call to arms. A call to arms for the sake of their families and their financial futures. Again, crowning it is a revelation that they feel needs to be made. So basically what it is that you've got the anti-vaxxers do not believe the science, and they believe that there is something that has been covered up, which there isn't, something that has been covered up that needs to be revealed, and that somehow they secretly know what this is, that they are in on something that everybody else doesn't know about, and it gives them sorry, I'll just shut that window. They're doing some building work over the road. That they feel that they have a secret that nobody else knows, and it gives them a feeling of power and solidarity with the like-minded. What we've got here then in the immediate future, yes, it's being funded. It is being funded. However, things will happen very quickly, and they will find themselves isolated. So there will be messages that come out very quickly, and this is externally. Messages will come very quickly, and internally they will find themselves feeling isolated and abandoned. Their hope was and is that they are part of something that is bigger than themselves, and it gives them a feeling of solidarity and purpose and passion. However, the eventual outcome is you've got this devil card who is causing this people to feel inspired, but it is the devil energy behind this inspiration. What will happen is they will find themselves financially juggling in a difficult position. They have to make a decision financially. I don't see the government backing down on this, but I will have a look in a minute. And again, they will find themselves facing a difficult decision in regards to the truth. So but the main card I'm reading in this final outcome, or where it is at the moment, is that this devil energy is behind this feeling of inspiration. What you've got here is illusion. This is the base of the pack. You've got illusion and delusion. The truth will be revealed about the dark money, and you've got this legals coming into play. So there is dark money behind this. I will double check. Try and keep it under the half hour for you. So tell me, how was this protest funded? How was this protest funded? How was this protest funded? Is there dark money funding this process? Is there dark money funding this protest to create chaos? Is there dark money funding this protest? Is there dark money funding this protest? Is there dark money funding this protest? Give them a good shuffle. Is there dark money funding this protest? 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 Canada. Is there dark money funding this protest? based in Canada. Oh, Hanged Man again. So being a major arcana, it is a yes card. Ace of Cups, new beginning. Interesting, see where it goes. Ace of Swords, truth will come out. Page of Wands in regards to the money. So it's telling me yes, however it has been suspended. There's a lot of emotional overwhelming in regards to this, but the truth will come out in regards to the money. So it's not telling me a definite, we've got here walking away on the base, the circle of support, but also the feeling of abandonment. So it is telling me yes, but it's being halted. Right, so will the Canadian government back down? I don't see them backing down. I'm getting quite a strong no. I mean, the figures say, as I said in my introduction, 68% of Canadians are like, totally disagree with what's going on in Ottawa. There is an election coming up. I can't see Macron or his government, not Macron, Trudeau, wrong French, Trudeau and his government backing down on this at all. Will the Canadian government, because all that's happening, okay, all I'm excuse the language in this, all I am getting told is that all this protest is doing is pissing off the majority of Canadians. All it's doing is angering, okay, that's a politer way of putting it, but that's the sentence I was told. They are under an illusion, complete illusion. Unfortunately, on the news they had the other day, when they were interviewing the ones outside the Australian Parliament House, the main Parliament House, is that there were some Bible bashers and supposed people laying hands and chanting, and that does absolutely nothing for the image of us light workers. So I do, as I said, light workers, this flew out. We have to stick together. Stick together. There is hope. It will all be restored, and we will come. We will be seen. But it was just, yeah, I just find it disappointing. Anyhow, will the Canadian government back down? Will the Canadian government back down? Will the Canadian government back down on the mandates? Will the Canadian government back down on the mandates? King of Coins, this is the Star. So King of Coins, this is the financial provider, financial stability, mentor figures. I'm seeing this as the government itself in this case. We've got the Star, which things will be restored to balance from the illusion, and the illusion will be forced into retreat and heartbreak. So the illusion will be defeated by the truth, which will result in heartbreak for those that believe. And base of the pack is isolation, chaos, but downfall, as their actions and consequences of their actions are being shown to be foolish. So I'm not seeing the government backing down on this. And I think that's all the questions I have. So if there's anything you want answered, please put them in the box below. My email is in the box below as well, in the description. If you want to email me with any questions or anything you want me to read on that is a bit more sensitive, or you don't want to do so in public. And take care. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.